Now, you might be wondering, is Microsoft Excel actually a better database than Microsoft Access? And, well, the answer is not as easy as you think. Now, I'm going to go and explore why I believe that Excel actually is a better database than Access, and I'm going to be sharing why down in Microsoft Excel. If I get into this, if you do find it useful, informative, maybe even entertaining at times, smash a like button, subscribe if you're new, and let's get started. Okay guys, so is Excel better than Access, right? And I think the main point that I have to make in this video is that Access is or was a really fantastic database tool way back in the very early days. However, as time has progressed, it just hasn't really become fit for purpose anymore, which is pretty much why it's really actually quite hard to come by. I think for the most part, it's better to actually think about Excel as a great source of data, and that you can plug that into other tools like Microsoft's Power BI. And actually, if you take this approach, it makes everything that you would normally do in Access just a hell of a lot easier and a lot more dynamic and more powerful. So what we are going to do is we are going to focus on that aspect of things when it comes to this video tutorial, right? We're going to focus on just focusing on specifically the actual Excel database structure, the things that you can use that data for and how you can actually interact with that data inside Excel. And then if you want to kind of comment down below whether you want to see then how we can take this data and model it into Power BI's data flows or, data sets, then let me know in the comments below if that's something that you want to see. We're going to focus on Excel and how you could actually use Excel instead of Access, and then we can obviously talk about how to take this data and plug it in elsewhere to make things a lot more, dynamic and more user-friendly from a database perspective. So in this example here, right, we have a Excel table, okay? So if you're not familiar, I created a whole video on how to create an Excel table, but I'm hoping that if you're watching this video, you already are familiar with that part. Okay, this particular table, we have table design, and this is called sales_data, okay? And this data contains a name of a person, the region that they're in, the month, and the number of sales that they achieved in that month, right? These are some pretty large numbers, but ultimately I just used a random between function that basically chose a number between 100,000 and I think like 5 million, and it just kind of threw in these numbers for me, okay? So it's all kind of fictional data, but it gives you a bit of a database to kind of be thinking about. There's no breaks in this data. It acts as a pure database, right? We have records for every name, okay? And there's no IDs here, unique IDs, which is another step that we could make, of course. In this particular case, we don't need that because we can handle that information separately in things like Power BI. So in here, in Excel, all we have to do is drop down the names, the regions, the months, and the sales that they achieve. It's quite straightforward. So if you've got, let's say a sales database somewhere that you're plugging in here, maybe you're using Power Query, maybe even if you have that already, you don't necessarily even need to even have, of course, this data table in Excel. But Excel in itself, if you are to be recording pieces of information, is going to make it a little bit easier for you. Now, Excel, they actually create a whole host of database specific functions, such as a database sum, a database count A, database min, database max, database get, database product, database variance, and var p. Okay, now these functions, they actually allow you to interact with the table. Now, these actual functions themselves, they seem a little bit kind of pointless, but I'm going to show you some pretty cool ways that you can interact with your data using these functions, okay? So we obviously have things like sum and SUMIFS and things like that, and you can use those with Excel tables perfectly fine. And that's why I find that these are probably a bit over the top for Excel, but there's probably a few unique use cases where they come clutch. So let's get into this. First thing we're going to do is we're going to copy two of these headers that we want to filter our database by, which is going to be region and it's going to be month, right? We want to know, how much or how many sales we achieve by month by region, for example, right? We could throw it into a pivot table, or we could go and use these new functions such as DSUM, right? I'm going to copy these headers. We're going to use them as filters. So we're going to go ahead and paste those headers at the top here. Okay, this is really important because what we're going to do is we are going to use the DSUM function function to basically filter our data, and we're going to have it dynamic enough so that we can change the region and change the month, and it's going to automatically update our formula. Sounds pretty cool, right? So what we're going to do is we're just going to dress this up a little bit. Okay, so a region here is going to be a drop-down menu of our regions, right? So we could, of course, create a little drop-down menu for this, which is just these countries here. So I'm going to go ahead and actually copy those over. I'm just going to go ahead and paste them over here. And then we're going to also get the months, which we only have 3 months worth of data, January, February, and March. And I zoomed in way or out too much there. I'm going to copy those, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to paste them in here. Okay, and those are going to be our months. Okay, so those are our filters. Okay, and what we can do is we can now just use a data verification dropdown. So we go to the data tab, we head on over to the data verification area. We're going to go ahead and data verification. We're going to choose from any value. We're going to change that into a list right here, and the source list is going to be our regions here. Okay, that's our first one. We're going to click OK. The second one, we're going to go back to data verification. Data verification from any value to list. From the list, we're going to choose the months. Okay, this can obviously be dynamic. I've created a video on how to create dynamic dropdowns. If you want, you can check that video out on the channel. But we're just going to go ahead and select UK here, and we're going to select January just to get us started. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with the DSUM. In fact, I'm probably only going to focus on a couple of these formulas because they are quite repetitive after a while. We're going to go equals, we're going to go and type in DSUM, and we're going to open up a bracket. Okay, so the first thing it wants to do is actually select the database, right? Our database is the table. Now we've got a couple of different options here. We can do this and select, you know, all of our sales data table as it is, as you can kind of see like so. Okay, at this point we actually want to put in a hashtag, I think it is, or is it an open square bracket? Might be square bracket and all, so this one right here. Okay, so we open up a square bracket, we click on the all button, we close that. Basically that tells this formula that we want to address the entire database table, okay, that we see right here. So it's sales underscore data in square brackets, hashtag all. Okay, then we want to basically have our criteria, well, our field, right? What is it that we want to summarize? Well, we can type in sales like this, or alternatively we can just click on the header sales here. Okay, now there's actually 3 different ways of doing this. I should actually slow this down just a little bit. Okay, so the first thing we can do is we can click on the header that we want to summarize. As you can see here, it puts in sales underscore data in square brackets, and then in a square bracket again, it's hashtag headers because it's only the header of the database table. And then it puts a comma in there, and then it puts in square brackets sales, and then closes the square bracket. Okay, it's a little bit complicated. Okay, so, but that is of course the easiest way to do it. Just select and actually click on the header. Okay, the other way of doing it is to find out how many columns it is. If anyone's used the VLOOKUP, basically count from the left, the furthest or the first column or the first field within our database table, and then count right. It's 1, 2, 3, 4 to get to sales. We could just type the number 4 in here. We could of course do it the hard way and physically type it all, but it's much easier just to actually go ahead and just click the header, right? Then if we hit comma again, we open up the criteria field, and that is to highlight that little area just up here that we created earlier, right? The region and the month filtered by the UK and by January. Once that's done, we can close the bracket and press enter, and it's going to basically now summarize the total amount of sales that were generated in the UK region by January. And again, because this is a drop-down menu, we can change it to February, we could change it to March, and it's going to update accordingly. We could also change the regions. So let's say we want the US, we can do that. If we want the UAE, we can do that. So ultimately, it's a great way to be able to interact with your data tables. The problem that I have is that we can get the same results using something like a SUMIFS function rather than a DSUM function. We can argue that maybe this is easier to handle, and we can maybe argue otherwise. Ultimately, I don't think really this is the best use when it comes to database tables or tables inside Excel, because the best use really comes when you take this data and you plug it into something like Power BI, because Power BI lets you actually treat it a lot like or very similar to Access databases in the background, but then lets you build your reports, your visuals on top of it. And so Access, Microsoft Access, it's kind of one and done. It's kind of had its moment in the sun, but ultimately all of the problems that we had with Access, they are still present. And so actually pivoting away from that, using Excel to create your database tables or your raw data, and then plug that into Power BI, you get a much better result. But of course, it's just my thoughts and opinions. You can let me know yours in the comments down below, and let me know whether you want to see more videos about Excel tables or database formulas, or whether you want me to see how I plug that into Power BI and how we would actually create, data flows, data sets, and visual representations from there. And so guys, that is why I think that Microsoft Access is now an outdated tool, and why Microsoft Excel actually gives you a little bit better access to some of the more modernized tools. If this works for you and you find it useful and informative, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe for more hints and tips, and I'll catch you in the next one.